Exposed. The heartwarming truth about 27 cars left behind discover their life-changing stories. In a small Midwestern town, where the windows of forgotten vehicles served as a haunting reminder of dreams once bright, Jake stood at his family's auto repair shop, weary and determined. These cars, rusted and silent, every single one of them carried fragments of lives' stories hidden beneath layers of dust and decay. As he wiped his hands on a grease-stained rag, he thought of his father, Hank, who once dreamed of opening a custom car garage, an ambition now shadowed by age and illness. Each abandoned vehicle outside echoed his father's lost aspirations, and the thought made Jake's chest tighten with an ache he couldn't shake. Rumors swirled, whispered wordlessly among the townsfolk that the local community center planned to demolish the lot where the cars sat. Panic gripped Jake as visions of bulldozers clearing away memories danced behind his eyelids. What would become of the stories tethered to these hunking heaps of metal? Jake could hear his father's voice beckoning him, reminding him of family legacy and the importance of honoring the past. This was the moment he'd been waiting for. The ember of purpose ignited. With newfound determination, he approached families, unearthing tales of perseverance tied to each rusty frame. There was the old widow, softly reminiscing about how her husband's first car had taken her to their first dance, the thrill and laughter still alive in her eyes. The dilapidated sedan where a young mother had learned to drive became her vessel of freedom, a testament to her resilience as she maneuvered through life's challenges. Each story, rich with emotion, wove a tapestry of love and heartache that pulsed with the spirit of American resilience, forcing tears from his eyes and a smile on his face. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now, let's continue. Despite the warmth of these connections, a chill crept into Jake's heart when he learned of the developer's shiny plans for a new strip mall. The prospect of quick cash for his struggling shop tugged at his conscience. Torn between the dream of a better life for his father and family and the duty to preserve the memories of his community, he felt overwhelmed. Hope flickered, but so did fear. The townsfolk were hesitant at first, unsure of what to do, but as Jake shared the vision for a rally and event to celebrate their history, he saw a spark ignite within them. The diner buzzed with laughter and tears as stories spilled forth. Friends gathered to reminisce, their voices blending in a beautiful cacophony of connection. A palpable tension rippled through the room. The developer loomed in the background, ready to swallow their memories whole. But Jake stood at the forefront, his heart racing. He looked around him, taking in the faces of his friends, his neighbors, and his determination solidified. They had to unite. They had to stand for their shared identity before it slipped away forever. As anticipation swelled for the rally, Jake knew they were on the brink of something powerful. But could love and memories stand a chance against the cold machinery of profit? Only time would tell. The day of the rally dawned bright and hopeful, the sun casting golden beams over the small Midwestern town. Jake stood outside the diner, heart pounding, as people began to trickle in. He could feel the nervous energy in the air, a palpable mix of excitement and anxiety. Would the community rally around their memories today, or would it all simply slip away? Families arrived with plates of homemade cookies and pies, their laughter mingling with the sound of pots clanging in the diner kitchen. Jake's stomach twisted in knots. He hadn't felt this nervous since he'd taken his first driving test. Depicting their stories on banners that hung from the diner's awning, he hoped these visuals would capture attention and kindred spirits. As the crowd grew, Jake took a deep breath. He stepped onto a makeshift stage crafted from old tires and wooden planks. It was a moment where he could either take flight or falter, but he couldn't let fear rule his actions. The crowd hushed, and all eyes settled on him. "Thank you all for being here," he began, his voice steady. "This isn't just about cars. They're pieces of our history, our lives. They hold stories of love, triumph, and at times, heartbreak. Each dent and scratch tells us a tale, one worth preserving." Murmurs swept through the crowd. The old widow, Mrs. Hendricks, stood toward the front, nodding in agreement. Jake glanced at her, recalling the way she had beamed when sharing her memories. It inspired him to push forward. They are reminders of where we've been and where we can go. If we let these cars disappear, we risk losing more than just metal and paint. We risk losing our spark as a community. Cheers erupted, filling him with strength. As people raised their fists in solidarity, he could see hope reflecting in their eyes. They weren't just there for nostalgia. They wanted a future steeped in their shared history. Then, from the back, a voice rose above the cheers, slicing through the unity. But what can we do against the developer? Money talks. A collective sigh spread through the crowd. Doubt began to creep in like a dark cloud. Jake rushed to reclaim the energy. What if we refuse to be quiet? What if we show the developer and the town just how much these cars mean to us? We can organize a petition, host events, and write letters to local papers. We have to fight for what matters. As Jake's words ignited determination among the crowd, he couldn't help but feel that flicker of courage melting his fear. People began stepping forward, sharing more stories and ideas. A young girl raised her hand, suggesting an art contest to honor the memories. Another proposed a collaborative mural, turning their tales into a visual legacy. Laughter and brainstorming filled the space, the excitement palpable. Just then, Hank nodded at Jake from the back of the diner, tears glistening in his eyes. Something stirred deep within Jake's chest. This wasn't just about cars anymore. It was about lifting each other up, preserving dreams and legacy. But just as joy filled the air, a black SUV rolled past, its tinted windows casting ominous shadows. The developer's presence loomed. As the crowd noticed, a hush fell over the gathering. Jake's heart raced again. Would the community keep their spirit alive, or would fear win the day? He sensed an urgency to act, to protect everything they had just ignited together. After all this, he thought, are we truly ready to guard our stories? But deep down, a question echoed louder than the rest. What would they be willing to do to protect what they loved? As the vehicle turned down the street, Jake felt the weight of the moment settle on his shoulders. It was just the beginning. Would their united front withstand the test ahead? Jake stood at the front of the crowd, his heart still racing as the ominous SUV rolled away. The rally's energy had shifted, a shadow looming over the sunlight. But he looked out over his neighbors, seeing the determination etched into their faces, and knew they were far more than mere spectators. They were ready to fight for their stories. Without missing a beat, he seized the moment. Let us put that doubt behind us. He shouted, his voice strong and clear. We have something the developer doesn't. Love for our community and the memories that bind us. A wave of applause rose, and he noticed Hank stepping forward, wiping his tears away with a trembling hand. I remember my father rebuilding that old Mustang in the garage, Hank called out, his voice wavering but heartfelt. It wasn't just a car, it was our time together. Losing it would be like losing a piece of who I am. The crowd murmured in agreement, echoes of shared memories bouncing around the diner lot. One by one, voices began to rise. Old Mr. Thompson, with his crinkled face and kind eyes, shared his story of the Chevrolet he and his late wife drove on their first date. That car took us everywhere, from the drive-in movie to the park where we carved our names into a tree. His voice cracked, but the warmth spread through the crowd. It reignited the hope radiating only moments before that a young boy tugged at his mother's sleeve and raised his hand. Can we paint those cars for everyone to see? He asked. The simplicity of the idea broke through the emotional heaviness, laughter erupting around them. The idea sparked a new wave of creativity. People started brainstorming mural ideas on the side of the diner. We can illustrate all the stories. Someone shouted. We'll draw our cars and their tales in vibrant colors. From that moment, a flurry of ideas sparked. Families offered to contribute, each with their story waiting to shine. When Jake glanced over to Mrs. Hendricks again, he could see tears streaming down her cheeks, but now they glimmered with pride. If we paint, we'll make it impossible for anyone to forget what those cars mean to us, she cried, her voice filled with an intensity that caught everyone's attention. The old widow's words hung in the air, and Jake felt a wave of collective agreement surge through the crowd. But he knew this newfound momentum needed to turn into action. Let us give the developer a reason to rethink, he urged. We'll organize an event, a festival that showcases our cars and their stories. It'll be a celebration of us, what we stand for. We'll contact everyone, the papers, the radio, make sure they know we are not backing down. They all nodded, pride blossoming in their chests. Ideas spiraled around, plans forming as if they had been waiting for this moment. Jake could see the passion igniting, fueling movements that threaded everyone together, stronger than any invisible wall created by the developer. But just then, the atmosphere shifted again as they spotted a group of men emerging from the SUV, brandishing clipboards and cameras. But this time, instead of fear, determination surged through their veins. What are you going to do when they try to stop us? Someone shouted, a challenge in their tone. Jake swallowed hard, but the flicker in his chest burned brighter. We'll be ready to show them exactly who they're dealing with. We won't just defend our memories. We'll celebrate them like never before. The crowd roared, but as Jake faced the approaching men, doubt flickered at the edge of his mind. Could they really stand together against such power? He clenched his fists, his voice unwavering. Together, we can transform our fear into something much stronger. Let's build the future we deserve. As the men approached, Jake took a deep breath, heart pounding like a drum. The outcome of this confrontation felt monumental. Would they intimidate him into silence, or would he and his community emerge victorious? He felt that same urgency again. It was more than just a rally. It was a stand for every dream left unfulfilled, every story longing to be told. The moment was now, and history hung in the balance. The black SUV parked nearby, and as the men stepped out, all eyes were fixed on Jake. A storm was brewing. Would their courage hold at the moment it mattered the most? Jake took a step forward, not breaking eye contact with the men who now stood before him, clipboard wielding and expressionless. The crowd shifted, a current of energy building among them, a tangled mix of apprehension and resolve. The leader of the group, a tall man in a crisp shirt and tie, flashed a self-assured smile. We're just here to document what is happening, he assured them, his voice dripping with condescension. But you all really should consider the real value of this land. Jake clenched his jaw, refusing to give in to the tension that threatened to bubble up within him. No one here cares about your numbers or theories, he shot back. We care about our lives, our stories. You can't put a price tag on that. A murmur of support rippled through the spectators. Jake could feel the strength building in their unity, but the businessman persisted, raising an eyebrow. Stories don't pay the bills. You'll have to face reality eventually. His words struck like ice, but Jake stood firm, his voice stronger than ever. You don't know us or what we're made of. These cars, these memories, they're precious to us. We refuse to let you erase our past for your future. Just then, Hank stepped forward again, this time holding a faded photograph. This is my old Mustang, he said, voice shaking but resolute. This car isn't just metal. It's where I learned about life, about love, where my kids laughed during road trips. Each scratch tells a story. A ripple of agreement surged as others pulled out their photographs and memories, displaying them like shields. Jake could see the fear in the developer's eyes slipping away, replaced by nervousness. What they once considered a mere transaction now exposed humanity behind the faces of those they underestimated. Feeling the heart of the crowd expand, Jake summoned every bit of passion within him. Tonight, we're planning a festival to showcase all these stories. It will be our turning point. The men exchanged glances, uncertainty creeping in. That's cute, but you might want to rethink how you're prepared to handle the media, the tall man returned, faltering for the first time. You don't really think watch us. Jake cut him off, a fire igniting in his chest. He waved his hand, signaling to the community members. Excitement erupted once more, people chiming in with ideas on how to showcase their stories, live performances, art displays, food trucks representing local cuisine. The men fumbled with their clipboards. What was once an observation mission turned into an unwanted spectacle, the tide shifting in the crowd's favor. Each shared memory painted a picture that was far mightier than counted dollars. As laughter filled the air, fueled by hope and camaraderie, Jake felt a surge of pride. They were creating something beyond walls, a vibrant homage to their shared lives. Yet, behind that pride, a flicker of concern tugged at him. Could this truly deter the developer? Let us set a date for the festival. Someone shouted, igniting the energy again. But with every cheer, Jake's heart sank slightly. Would it be enough? Absolutely. Jake responded, his voice underscored with zeal. But we must play it smart. We need a plan, and we need everyone on board to prepare for what's to come. The excitement stayed in the air, but reality lingered quietly in the shadows. Jake noticed the men retreating slightly, exchanging glances. Their confidence was cracking. He couldn't dismiss the weight of what was brewing. With every ounce of his being, Jake called out one last time. We're ready to fight for every moment attached to these cars. They represent every heartbeat of this community. But as the men turned to walk back to the SUV, Jake felt the weight of their challenge like a stone in his gut. How far could they push this determination before running into something even more daunting? The crowd buzzed with enthusiasm, unaware of the storm brewing just beyond their celebration. Would their resolve pay off against a powerful, manipulative force intent on erasing their legacy? Jake's heart raced. The moment of truth was closer than he had imagined. What consequences would arise from their defiance? The night air was thick with anticipation as Jake gathered his neighbors around the community center. The festival idea bloomed late in the day, and now everyone's excitement was palpable. Powering through his nerves, he looked from face to face, hoping to find unity even as he felt uncertainty gnawing deep inside him. All right, everyone, Jake started, trying to sound more confident than he felt. This festival isn't just about celebrating our cars. It's about showcasing our spirit. Every car has a story, just like every one of us. The rustle of anticipation spread throughout the gathering. Judy, a single mother with untamed curls and a smile that could brighten any room, raised her hand. We could have a contest for the best story. Each owner can stand by their car and share what it means to them. Great idea. Jake beamed, feeling the electrifying sense of purpose fill the room. It made sense to turn their personal experiences into a connective thread, binding them even tighter as a community. One by one, hands shot up, each person throwing out ideas. A photography booth to capture memories. A talent show that highlighted local musicians who once sang in the shadows of the old diner. Jake let their excitement wash over him, absorbing every suggestion. The festival was transforming into a movement, not merely a gathering. However, a nagging thought persisted. Will it be enough? He whispered to himself. What if these heartfelt stories and laughter couldn't counter the developer's plans? Reality pressed on his chest, whispering doubts that he tried to ignore. Hey, you all right? Hank asked, his voice breaking through Jake's cloud of doubt. Hank's photo of the Mustang still clutched in his hands, a symbol of resilience. Yeah, Jake replied, forcing a smile. Just thinking. We have to be ready for what's next. The energy in the room shifted perceptibly as they plunged into discussions on logistics. Assigning roles, planning the layout, rallying everyone together, it was exhilarating. Their heartfelt passion molded into action, building bridges among them that felt unbreakable. But amid the excitement, whispers of a different kind arrived. A rumor floated past word that the developer was planning to make a statement. Their presence loomed even when they weren't there, like shadows ready to dim the light of the community's dedication. Did you hear? Someone murmured from the back. They're sending out press releases about their plan. We might be in for a fight even before we get started. Jake's heart sank. Anger simmered inside him. How could they overlook the heart of the community? It felt like a direct assault on everything they held dear. He caught Hank's gaze, and a silent understanding passed between them. They weren't backing down. They couldn't. Let them talk, Jake said, trying to rally them again. This festival is our voice. And if they want to battle us, they'll hear every heartbeat, every laugh, every tear that this place has witnessed. Together we're stronger. The room erupted in cheers, but Jake still felt a pit in his stomach. It was a daunting journey, and the stakes had grown ever higher. The developer's force wouldn't be a simple obstacle. He had ignited a flame, but would it burn bright enough to withstand the wind that was coming? As the planning session continued with laughter and determination, Jake couldn't shake the feeling that their festival could either be a defining moment of unity or a spark igniting the storm ahead. The shadows of uncertainty loomed larger, and deep down, Jake knew this was only the beginning. What would happen when the developer escalated their tactics? Would their celebration of resilience be snuffed out before it had a chance to shine? As the days rolled into weeks, the excitement around the festival grew, but so did the tension. Posters adorned the walls of the community center, bright colors and bold lettering beckoning everyone to join. Yet, beneath the surface, anxiety simmered like a pot on the verge of boiling over. Every conversation buzzed with hope, but whispers of the developers' plans crept in like weeds, threatening to choke their efforts. The night before the festival, Jake stood in the center of the community hall, staring out at the empty chairs. They were beautifully arranged, waiting to be filled with laughter, joy, and stories, but also with uncertainty. Hank joined him, breaking the silence. "You okay?" he asked, concern etched on his face. "Just thinking about tomorrow. What if it doesn't go as we hope? Then we deal with it," Hank replied firmly, his arms crossing. "We've already put our hearts into this. No one can take that away." Jake nodded, but a heaviness weighed on him. A flicker of doubt sparked in his mind. And what if they rush in and take it all away before we had a chance to show what we're capable of? Hank shook his head. "You can't let fear dictate your actions. This is about showing who we are." He gestured broadly to the walls adorned with memories of their community. "These stories matter." Just then, Judy breezed in, her vibrant hair bouncing with enthusiasm. "Hey, you two. Got everything ready for tomorrow? The excitement is through the roof. Can you feel it?" Her bright spirit injected a dose of positivity into Jake's worries. "We just need to keep reminding ourselves why we're doing this," he said, almost as if convincing himself. Judy beamed at him, a fiery determination reflecting in her eyes. "And we will. This festival is more than a day of fun. It's about us standing together. Cars, stories, and laughter. It's our chance to show the world what we're made of." As they prepared the last details, laughter rang through the hall. The trio gathered with other neighbors, sharing stories about their cars, a convertible that had taken a family cross-country, a pickup that had been part of countless family camping trips, and an old sedan that had seen its share of tears and celebrations. Each story breathed life into the gathering, weaving a tapestry of memories that glimmered with hope. But when the evening wore on, the shadows of the developer loomed larger. Jake received a notification about a press conference scheduled the same day as the festival. The developer would unveil their plans, directly calling out the opposition. Panic gripped Jake, his pulse racing as he quickly read through the details. "They're going to try and overshadow us," Jake exclaimed, his voice rising with urgency. "They're dropping this bomb right when we're supposed to shine." Hank and Judy exchanged concerned glances. "Do you think we should change the date?" Hank suggested cautiously. "No," Jake shot back, clenching his fists. "We can't let them dictate our plans. We have to keep our festival alive and show our community spirit. That's what they want to silence." "That's right," Judy chimed in. "This festival isn't just an event, it's our stand against them. Let us beat them at their own game." Strengthened by their determination, they decided to go all in. A wave of collective resolve swept through the room. Tomorrow would not just be a celebration, it would be their stand, their voice against the developer. As the night grew late, they made preparations for a display board at the festival, filled with snapshots and stories from everyone's cars. "Let us expose the heartwarming truth," Jake said, feeling the spark flicker back to life. "They may think they can overrun us, but we'll show them how united we are." As they wrapped things up, a newfound energy pulsed through them. Tomorrow, the community would gather, not just for a festival, but for a movement. What stories would emerge from the hearts of their neighbors? Could their voices drown out the developer's plans? Or would they find themselves facing an even greater challenge than they anticipated? The sun rose bright and warm on the morning of the festival, casting a golden glow over the community. Excitement buzzed in the air as neighbors filled the streets, each carrying memories wrapped in the fabric of their lives. Jake arrived early, his heart pounding with a mix of hope and anxiety. He could already see tents being set up, food trucks lining the curb, and children running with laughter echoing around them. "Look at them go," Jake said, his nerves momentarily quelled as he watched a group of kids darting around an inflatable slide. It was a simple joy, but it tethered him to the purpose of this festival. This was what they fought for. Hank arrived, coffee in hand, sporting a smile. "Ready to make some noise?" he asked, eyes shining with enthusiasm. "Absolutely," Jake replied, although the reminder of the developer-s conference loomed in the back of his mind. Judy strutted in next, waving a stack of flyers. "Check this out. I made these to remind everyone why we're here." The flyers declared their mission: to stand united, to protect their homes and their stories. They hung the flyers around the event space, each passing neighbor reading them with nods of agreement. The buzz grew louder, transforming from mere chatter to a harmonious effort of solidarity. As the clock ticked closer to the opening hour, Jake felt the pulse of the community, a rhythm so alive against the backdrop of uncertainty. They were all coming together for purpose, not just for fun. An hour in, attendees began to pour in, filling the chairs, and joy leaped in Jake's chest as laughter danced in the air. Cars of every color gleamed under the sun, each holding a story which echoed through the whispered conversations. Jake turned to Judy. "This is incredible," he said, gesturing to the vibrant throng. "I didn't expect so many. The heart of this community is stronger than any plan to tear it down," Judy replied, voice steady and confident. Around them, families shared their automotive tales, projections of memories spilling forth like golden sunlight. A woman whispered about her grandmother's Chevy with such fondness that it stirred warmth in their hearts. Men reminisced about the first car they ever owned, their smiles lighting up the day. It was a living tapestry of lives interwoven with metal and rubber, but amid the laughter, Jake's gaze flicked nervously to his phone. He could practically feel the tremors from the impending press conference. Just then, Hank elbowed him, breaking him from his thoughts. "She's ready," Hank said, eyes twinkling mischievously. Jake followed Hank's gaze to see an older man taking the stage. His body language radiated warmth and calm. With a voice like honey, the man began to share a story brimming with nostalgia. "Back in '78, I drove my wife in this very car to our first date." His words drifted, layering a blanket of comfort over the crowd. There were chuckled memories, heartfelt ahs, and even a few smirks as he recounted the wild ride of love, life, and a little rust. Jake smiled, his heart swelling. Here, at that moment, the festival was doing what it was meant to, uniting them and igniting hope. Yet, just as the moment of joy settled, Jake's phone buzzed with a reminder about the developer-s press conference. His heart sank. He hoped that the community's spirit would overshadow the chaos outside. "Jake," Hank said, noticing his shift. "When it's time, we'll handle whatever comes our way." Jake nodded, but his mind whirled. What if everything we've built falls apart? Hank clasped his shoulder. "We can only show our strength and unity. That's all any of us can do." As the crowd cheered for the storyteller, Jake's eyes scanned the faces. He saw hope, determination, and stories that could inspire them forward. Could it be enough? Then, just as he started to feel grounded again, a loud horn blared from inside the community center. Jake's stomach dropped as he glanced towards the sound. What now? The horn was followed by an unexpected shout. "Is Jake here? We need you on stage." Jake's pulse quickened. He hadn't planned to speak, but now it seemed fate was leaning in. Would he find the courage to take the mic and rally his community when they needed it most? With decisions hanging in the air, Jake made his way through the crowd, heart racing. What was he going to say? Would his words be a beacon, or would they crumble under the weight of the incoming storm? Jake took a deep breath as he approached the stage. The sun still hung overhead, casting its warming glow, but suddenly, everything felt heavier. The chatter faded, replaced by a silence that swallowed him whole. He could see the expectant faces, each one filled with hope, and he grappled with the weight of their expectations. Hey everyone." He cleared his throat, the microphone amplifying his nervousness. The crowd turned toward him, eyes alight with anticipation, and for a moment, he faltered. I didn't plan to speak today, but I guess life has a way of, well, making plans for you." A ripple of laughter broke the tension. It was just what he needed. "Today isn't just about cars," he continued, feeling his pulse steady. "It's about us. Our stories. The moments that these cars represent. Each dent, scratch, or rust spot tells a story, just like the houses we've crafted and the lives we've built." He spotted Judy nodding, encouraging him silently. Hank stood off to the side, arms crossed but supportive. The crowd shifted, leaning in as his voice grew earnest. "Remember how Miss Thompson's old Ford got stuck in the snow last winter? or the countless times we VE gathered to help each other fix a flat tire. More laughter, and Jake felt a surge of energy. This festival, it's not about resisting change. It's about celebrating the foundation we VE built together. Every hot summer day and every chilly evening we VE spent sharing meals, laughter, or even just silence here in our neighborhood parks. It's about community. He took a quick glance at his phone, a nagging reminder of the impending Developer-S conference like a storm cloud overhead. But he pressed on. We VE got challenges ahead, sure. The developers think they can come in and bulldoze our stories for quick profit. They see our homes as numbers, not lives lived. But today proves otherwise. Just look around. This joy, this energy, it's unstoppable. The crowd cheered, and Jake felt the collective heartbeat of their hopes and dreams synchronize with his. He paused for a moment, letting the wave of emotion wash over him. So let us not just let our voices rise today. Let us carry them beyond this festival. Let us remind everyone why we love this place. Another wave of applause erupted, lifting his spirit higher. In that moment, he realized that it wasn't just about words. It was about connection. Every nod, smile, and clap fed his courage, grounding him in the present. As Jake stepped off the stage, a weight lifted from his shoulders. Maybe he hadn't delivered a perfect speech, but it felt genuine, real. The faces within the crowd radiated unity, and he could sense that they were behind him, ready to fight for their home. Just then, a tall woman with a determined look approached him. Jake, I love what you said, but did you hear the news? The conference starts earlier than expected. They'll be here in half an hour. His stomach dropped. They didn't have much time. Panic crept in, but he pushed it aside. Okay, Jake said, determination flooding through him. We gather everyone. We prepare. We'll show them what we're made of. As he scanned the crowd, their energy was infectious. It was more than just a rally now. It was a tide of resilience ready to push back against the challenges ahead. What lay outside those cheerful festival grounds could wait. But just as he turned to gather Judy and Hank, his phone pinged with another notification, a message bearing news that could change everything. A silent storm loomed just beyond their moment of strength. What could that message reveal, and would it alter the course of their fight? Jake felt his heart race as he pulled out his phone, eyes wide. The screen glowed ominously, a new message flashing before him. He hesitated, glancing back at the hopeful faces in the crowd. Each moment felt critical. He swiped the notification open, reading the words quickly. We've received word that the developers plan to launch their project 2 weeks ahead of schedule. If we don't act now, they'll bulldoze everything by next week. A chill washed over him. The hope he had just kindled among the crowd now felt fragile, like a flame about to flicker out. They had to act, and fast. Jake, Judy called, running up to him. Her brow was furrowed with concern. What is going on? You look pale. They're coming sooner than we thought, he said, his voice hushed, urgency lacing every syllable. We have to get everyone on board now. Without waiting for a response, he turned back to the crowd. Listen up, everyone. We need your attention. His voice rose above the din, cutting through the chatter and laughter that had filled the air moments ago. A hush fell over the crowd as they turned to face him again. The energy had shifted. In their eyes, he saw recognition. The developers are coming sooner than planned. We need help, everyone's help. He continued, desperation creeping into his tone. If we want to save our community, we need to rally together right now. This festival is a starting point, but it can't be where we stop. Judy stepped forward, determination igniting her normally calm demeanor. If we share our stories, our memories tied to these cars and homes, we can show them why this place matters. We can document everything, each car, each memory, each person. We can create something powerful. In that moment, collective understanding sparked in the crowd. One by one, they nodded, murmuring in agreement. Jake could sense the tide turning. This wasn't just a festival anymore. It had become a movement. Hank stepped up next, his voice booming. Let us gather those who worked on their cars, the families who made memories right here. We'll build a site together, share our stories, and confront the developers head-on. They can bulldoze bricks, but they can't crush our memories. Cheers erupted, voices combining into one passionate cry. Hope intertwined with resolve, creating a thrilling electricity in the air. It was a shared pulse, a community once again becoming whole. Feeling the wave of determination, Jake started forming groups. He pointed towards families who could help gather stories, encouraging kids to draw their favorite memories of the neighborhood. Laughter and excitement mingled with urgency as they moved with purpose, catching the spirit of change in every interaction. Yet, even amid the rising tide of enthusiasm, Jake's heart sank at the reminder of what they were up against. Time was dwindling. The notification weighed heavily in his mind, a relentless reminder of the countdown that loomed. As Jake rushed from group to group, a nagging feeling tugged at his thoughts. Would their efforts be enough? Would their voices be heard among the roar of machinery and wealth? Just then, amidst the flurry, he spotted an elderly man sitting alone on a bench, staring at his old car. Jake realized that the past held deeper stories he had yet to uncover. His instincts told him there was something there worth exploring, something that could change the course of their fight. He turned towards the man, the question boiling in his heart. What stories could he share, and how could they reinforce the very fabric of their beloved neighborhood? "Excuse me, sir," Jake called, taking a step toward him. "Can you tell me about that car? What does it mean to you?" But before he could draw nearer, the hopeful spark in the crowd dimmed, as a black SUV pulled up, glinting menacingly in the sun. Was this the beginning of their fight, or the end? As the black SUV rolled to a stop, a heavy silence swallowed the festival energy. Jake's heart raced. The familiar faces, once so filled with determination, now held uncertainty. The developer's presence felt like an impending storm, dark and heavy. Fear gripped him again, just when they had begun to build so much hope. But Jake breathed deeply, remembering the memories and stories they had all shared. He turned back toward the crowd, willing his voice to break through doubt. "Everyone, stay strong. We've built something beautiful here. Even if they come, they can't take away the stories we've shared, the community we've forged." People nodded, circling together like a protective wall. His words felt like a lifeline, reminding everyone that their strength lay in the unity they had created. Just as the men stepped out of the SUV, Jake pushed forward. He couldn't allow fear to win. "We're not going anywhere," he shouted, trying to rally the crowd again. The men in suits approached, clipboards in hand, as their leader smirked confidently. "You've created quite a spectacle here," he said, eyeing the festival with overt disdain. "But we're here to discuss the future of this property, not your little gathering." Jake stood taller, grounding himself, as he exchanged glances with Hank and Judy, who stood at his side. "This isn't little. This is a community standing strong. You may think you can erase our history, but you're mistaken." The tension crackled in the air like static before a storm. The crowd began to gather closer, their collective energy swelling like a rising tide. They weren't just spectators, they were defenders of their stories. Judy stepped up, joining Jake on the stage. "Each car here tells a story of dreams, laughter, and family," she declared, her voice unwavering. "This is about more than metal and wheels. It's about our heritage. You can't put a price on what we've built together." The crowd erupted in agreement, fists raised high like a force of nature. Each voice echoed the sentiment that surged within them. This was their moment, and it was more powerful than a mere contract or a bulldozer. As the developer fumbled for words, Mr. Thompson stepped forward, his weathered hands grasping a photograph of his beloved Ford. "You don't just uproot cars. You uproot memories." He held the picture high for everyone to see. "You erase love, laughter, and life itself." A chorus of stories followed, pouring out like a river. The widow talked about the joys of date nights in her rusty sedan, mothers shared tales of learning to drive amidst laughter and tears, and kids excitedly spoke of summer adventures with parents. Together, they forged a narrative that bound them, painting an undeniable picture of what truly mattered. The developer's condescending smile wavered as he realized the power in their unity. Jake stepped forward, his heart swelling with pride. "We will fight for this place. It's worth every tear, every adventure. We will not let you erase our past." The crowd responded with a thunderous roar, creating a wall of love and resistance that no money could buy. The developers exchanged worried glances, sensing the tide was turning against them. They hadn't just underestimated the town. They had underestimated the power of heartfelt stories tied to every car parked within reach. And suddenly, the SUV felt like an intrusion rather than a threat. Jake, with newfound resolve, felt the embers of determination glow brighter. We will celebrate our stories today and every day. And if you think you can silence us, think again. Just then, a young girl, no older than 8, stepped forward timidly, clutching her father's hand. "Can we tell our stories too?" she asked, her voice sweet but firm. The crowd hushed, eyes fixed on her, and then erupted with applause, warmth igniting. Jake nodded, tears welling in his eyes. "Absolutely. This is for every voice." As they began to rally again, the developer faltered, the reality settling in. Words exchanged with urgency from the men in suits fell silent against the weight of genuine emotion radiating from the crowd. The festival continued, weaving together their shared memories into a colorful quilt of connection. The developer realized that the community wasn't going to back down. Hope had unfolded in the most unexpected way. In that moment, standing with fellow fighters, stories echoing in the air, Jake felt a warmth wrap around him. This was what they fought for. Not just the cars, but the very essence of their lives together. The festival glowed in its vibrant spirit. Jake whispered, "This is just the beginning. We are not just a small town. We are a family." Hope surged anew. As they understood together, they could conquer anything. And in that powerful moment, nothing was stronger than the love they had for each other. This was more than a fight for cars. It was a celebration of life itself, and nothing would tear that down. Now was the time to invite people into that journey. So, don't wait not even one more second. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories that will inspire and ignite your spirit. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Your support truly makes a difference. Comment below with your reactions and feelings about this powerful ending. And you need to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. They deserve the joy and hope this community exemplifies. Together, let us ensure everyone understands the importance of preserving the heart of our stories.